Al, don't touch that cable.
Yummy spaghetti.
It isn't food.
Spicy.
That's electricity. Stop.
I ate it.
Ah, I can't believe it. Again. Seriously. Again. Another sector has lost power thanks to a certain someone eating all the cables. You know what this means? My internet! Day after day, I ask and plead, do not eat the cables. They are not spicy spaghetti, but here we are. Again, I can deal with the coffee supply going missing, even with the potatoes getting dragged to the vents, but my internet is sacred. Al had been with me for years now, and somehow I still feel like I barely know him. Is this his way of playing? Or does he really want me to kick him in his well-shaped octocat ass? What a dilemma. Understanding someone who thinks eating the coffee cup is part of the experience is a challenge. As you can tell, he is rather strange, but I'm stubborn enough to figure him out. Let's be real. If there is someone who can get through to him, it's going to be me. I just need to do a little bit of homework, prepare a lot of coffee, and drink it before it magically disappears from my cup. Although, I must admit, I'm not sure what to do just yet. Where should I even start? Probably the beginning would be the wisest. Which starts with me driving my spaceship into a ditch. Yeah, let it out of your system. The cat can't drive. But, hear me out. Despite what you think, it was not my fault. It was the AI that went rogue. And no, before you would say, no, I'm not deflecting. It's just... something pulled me down. I accidentally slipped into that place on the moon. This grey, gloomy world that did not feel like an actual place at all, but rather memories, or a forgotten, washed-out dream of something that used to make sense. But now it was just a fake imitation of it. Was it his homeworld, or perhaps his memories of it? All I know, that it was also his prison. He didn't need words to let me know that he was trapped there, and the only way out of it was somehow me. How long was he living there? Did time even exist within those ruins? It felt like weeks just wandering around, and yet when I came back to reality, it turns out more than a millennia had passed. I know it should have scared me. After all, I did just crash my only way home into the dirt, and even if I didn't, so much time passed that perhaps even my planet ceased to exist. And yet, I felt calm. I wasn't alone anymore. I had a million questions burning inside me, but as I looked through the horizon, there was only one I could really think of. Where do I go next? The answer came in an unexpected form. The jewel suddenly warmed my palm as if it was trying to get my attention, along with the spooky ink-like substance that grew out of my shadow, only to show me the way. It guided me through the vastness of the moon, all the way towards the ruins hidden within the craters, strange formations, derelict remains that were most definitely not from human architects. I don't know who built these facilities, and Al was unwilling to talk about it ever since, but I know how he felt, even just as we walked among the empty walls. It was the only way for us to go, to get off the moon, and yet I could tell he would have rather chewed off his own limbs than to be there. Did these remains belong to someone he knew, another species? Were they the one who imprisoned him? Was that the reason for everything being here? The number of questions in my head only grew in numbers by each corridor we passed by. What kind of creatures were they? Were they hostile? Were they the bad guys? Or am I hanging out with the villain? Help me survive? The way I saw it, we were partners in crime, and it was damn time to get out of here. He led me all the way to some sort of transportation device. Honestly, I understood nothing of the technology in front of me. But I suppose lucky for me, the automatic system still knew what to do when it registered the life signature within the parameters. And ta-da! We were home! Our new home! A station that was hidden to the naked eye, orbiting the moon, ever so lonely that all the inhabitants were gone, standing empty, completely and utterly abandoned. A sleeping station that was left behind for who knows how long, and yet as we walked inside, everything slowly started to come alive. Only the small electric hum and my footsteps were breaking the silence of the huge hall we crossed. How could it possibly have looked like in its glory days? Was it bustling with spooky engineers who knew every secret of the mainframe? Were they tall, elongated green men whose slender fingers could reach from the tab to the enter button? In between two riveting thoughts, my eye caught an unfamiliar reflection in the mirror. It was me. But those red eyes looking back, were they truly my own? Suddenly the lights turned on, along with all the system the station had to offer: communication, maintenance, life support. In case you were wondering, it wasn't me touching the buttons, despite their rather seductive nature. I would have not dared in case, one is like a self-destruct one. I think he somehow understood that if it's going to be up to me, I will never touch anything around here, since I'm simply just great with technology. So he took things into his own tentacles. The thing he was at the time launched across the corridors with an incredible speed, leading me all the way down to some sort of laboratory. I didn't quite understand why at first. The facility was huge and it was full of empty tubes, medical gadgets. But then I saw them. They were just cats? Not ordinary cats, of course. Their body looked more adapted to walk on 2 instead of 4, but they were adorable kitty cats nonetheless. Not gonna lie, the discovery got me excited enough to press the menacing red button, despite everything I just resisted only mere minutes ago, and it awoke them. The little soggy bottom cat thing was quick to run off even if he just awakened, and it only stopped when I raised my voice with a mighty roar, only for it to attack back with cuteness. If this wasn't the most irresistible pair of glossy eyes I've ever seen, I have no idea what it could have been. My awe at the little one only got interrupted when I saw Elle stretching and flowing off the ceiling next to the concerned cat, only for him to mimic it? As much as he could, of course. I think he realized that the PK2 unit, as it was labeled on the glass tube, made me feel soft and fuzzy, so he adapted his shape to something unthreatening as well, and he was right because, by the gods, they were goddamn adorable! And ever since then, our home only grew and grew, filling up the once empty and lifeless station with warmth, love, and chaos. Always chaos. It's like a full-time job of babysitting a bunch of cheeky little cats who get stuck in everything and put their teeny tiny jelly beans where they don't belong. Al is of course helping in his own way, but let's be real, he might be causing more problems than what he actually solves, not to mention all the issues that he is triggering. Every day I try to save at least 3 Pocatos from being vented, 2 from being electrocuted, and at least 5 from simply getting probed? It's for science, he says, but I'm not quite sure about that. There are ways to keep them at bay, of course. Al's love for coffee is endless. I think perhaps this addiction is one of the main reasons why he hadn't invaded any planets just yet. So cutting his supply off is always a great bargaining chip. And of course, the less conventional yet still effective toaster. You don't want to know about the toaster. Trust me, even I'm trying to actively forget it. But who am I to judge who's into what? Sometimes it's amusing to watch them bicker, to wait and see what kind of traps they set up for each other, almost like watching a chess match from the shadows. And other times, I feel like I could strangle them. With all my love for them, of course. I'm just kidding. They aren't only a menace on Earth, well, on the station. The Pocatos are smart and kind, and they help me a lot with repairing and maintaining the place so it doesn't fall apart. I do love them dearly, but don't tell them I said that. No time for lovey-dovey until the task is finished. The task of discovering the secrets hidden within the station, the ruins, and inside Elle, of course. I want to know the reason he got imprisoned, about the people who did it, the secret writings on the ruins, the place where he came from. I want to know it all. I cannot for the life of me translate these runes. I have been at it for weeks and nothing. every time I think I'm onto something, a new room gets added and then not a single meaning makes any sense. I don't know how to get from 1 to 2, and L isn't helping. I know he could. I know he knows much more than what he's letting me on. But every time I ask, he just noops out of here. He's hiding something. He didn't want me to know about the facility's purpose on the moon, nor what he had done to deserve such a punishment from the people who used it. But what we both didn't know, that the pact that bound us together was stronger than he expected. I still don't quite understand how. Perhaps it was the deep wish from my heart, the desperate need to understand him and his thoughts a bit better, that allowed me to slip into his memories, making me finally understand why. I have seen countless worlds, corrupted, tainted, leaving a twisted footprint behind everywhere he went. I don't think he meant it. I don't even think he knew what kind of effect his presence had on the people around him. He was too busy with his search for something. I can't tell you what it was, I could only feel it. His desperation for this thing. How without it there was no point going on. Was he the last of his kind? Was there no one else to talk to? Did he want to find the others, those who were more like him? But the people, gods, all those screaming people, they couldn't understand. They had no chance of grasping what such a creature could come for. And they couldn't survive the mutation his essence caused. All those lives changed forever. The very balance of the dirt they walked on recreated. I didn't want to see more. I didn't want to hear more. It was way too much to bear despite it only being mere seconds for me. I suppose this was the answer I was looking for. To get to know him a bit more and how he thought. To understand why he was so secretive. Sure, he had unwillingly done bad things, which led him to his endless imprisonment, but people can hurt each other when they are in pain themselves. That is no reason to abandon and give up on them. Don't we all deserve a second chance? Another shot at being better, kinder, to build a community where you can find that thing we are all desperately looking for. A house to call your own, a family to belong to, a place where you're wanted and needed despite your flaws. A home. I admit, I have learned a lot. Not only not to let ever Al watch too many horror movies to get inspiration from, but to trust him that he is not only here for a quick Pocotto snack. We were all once two very different people, but now our goals are the same. Reveal the mysteries of the world surrounding us and strive forward to be better at whatever we might dip our toes or tentacles into. Although I worry for the future, especially when it can be so erratic, scary even, with each day bringing something unpredictable to the table. I am confident it will all work out. You know why? Because I'm not alone anymore. And just as my Pocahontas and Al got my back, I will do anything to protect them. Anything.